If you're not new to the channel here, you have definitely seen my multiple videos talking about the character designs of Yandere Simulator. I got into this game when I was like 14 years old. I am currently 22. It has been literally 8 years. I have graduated college, which is mind-boggling, and the character designs have just not stepped up. They really rely on fan service, and they're just really lackluster in my opinion, and you can tell that they were made with the intent to look like cute anime girls rather than to actually tell who they are as a person. And you can say, oh, the game has been in development for a long time, and you know, a lot of these designs are placeholders and were made with really limited assets. But you know, it's been like, what, 10 years, and the game has still not stepped it up. Infochan and Taro are just as boring as they were on day one. I do not care if they got a hair redo, it looks the same, and they're boring. And why don't we try to redesign them today? Because if you really take a look at these designs, they don't tell you anything about who the character is or how they interact within the game. They are just boring and really, really lame. And I think that I could do something about that. And without further ado, let's get into redesigning Infochan and Taro. I just think Infochan's design in the game is really boring. There's nothing really going on here, and yes, she was made with really, really limited assets in the beginning, and that was kind of made into like her final design through like edits, but it's still just not really working for me. Like the hair and the glasses just don't really fit who I think she is as a character, and I'll get into that later. So let's get into drawing her, shall we? Infochan is kind of similar to Ayano in the fact that her only character trait is being a really bad person and kind of hiding that fact. She's shown to just, and according to the wiki, she is shown to be uncaring towards other people in their lives, and she doesn't feel guilt or remorse whenever she harms other people for her personal gain. She just basically is a person to allow Ayano to continue with her schemes, and she provides her with information and, you know, tools to do the job in return for intel, such as Ayano placing bugs around the school, or, you know, the pictures. That is a really, really strange mechanic of the game and really should not be a thing. But you're wondering, how is this person allowed to just, like, be at school, right? Because Ayano, in a way, hides it, but, like, Infochan, like, she's just, like, in a room all day, being a hacker and stuff, I guess. But, you know, she says, oh, I have really bad agoraphobia, and if you don't know what that is, it's just, like, the intense fear of being in like a situation where like escape might be difficult, like being in public or stuff like that, which is just like a kind of lazy cop-out for this character because she doesn't really show symptoms at all. And I know there's something going on with the headmaster, but still, it's kind of odd to me, and I think I can do it better. I think that it would be better for Infochan to be someone that people would least expect, like the really quiet girl who's just really strange and kind of off-putting, but you know, people are just like, oh, she's just kind of a nerd or whatever. I wanted to design her as a very, very frail, short girl who looks very anxious and unsociable, because the original Infochan, she was like snarky, okay? Like, she's not giving me girl with agoraphobia, she's giving me you know, edgy hacker girl from anime game. Like, no, it's just bad. If you have seen my Yandere Simulator videos before, you have probably noticed that my art has drastically improved. Do you want your art to improve? Well, you should check out SkillShare. Through using my link in the description below, as well as using my code, you can get a full month free of SkillShare's amazing classes. My coupon code is OctoInks07252. Get started today! I saw that a lot of people in the fandom kind of give Infochan like the alias of Mao Ito, and I think this could fit my character as well in terms of her being a regular student at the school. And it's not that she hides away, it's just that nobody really knows because she's secretive, and I think that's so much more powerful than having a secret room where a hacker lives. Like, what the heck? In terms of her physical design, I got rid of the pixie cut because I don't know, I just always thought that the braids would kind of suit her better, especially in my AU where she's more like standoffish and shy. I also gave her these crazy eye bags, because obviously she doesn't sleep, because when else is she gonna be being evil, I guess? I also think the design choice of giving Infochan such like a red color palette was a really interesting choice, because if she's supposed to be secretive, wouldn't you want to go with like a purple or like a darker shade? But no, let's go with red, you know, because red means danger, and she's dangerous. Like, but also red is like very, very in your face. So, but I didn't want to change her hair color because, like, I don't know, red is kind of her thing. Now it's been established that, so, you know, I kept it red, but I kind of made it a little bit more toned down so it wasn't all danger, you know, hacker girl. Guys, I can't get over how bad the original design is. Guys, like, I can't with this game. Like, it's terrible. It's tormenting me. And anyway, guys, here's my finished redesign of Info-chan, or Mao Ito, and I think it just fits her character so much better. Thank God we got rid of whatever the heck this was, because this is not the Info-chan I have in my mind. And I think just the way that I wrote her story, as well as how I physically designed her, is just so much superior than the original. Like, sorry not sorry. And without further ado, let's get into talking about Taro. In my opinion, Taro's design is just boring. Like, just look at him. He's just some guy with black hair, and that's literally all he is. And while I think you can do this successfully, which I'll show later on, he's just boring. And throughout my series, I've only redesigned the female uniform, so now I'm going to do the male uniform, and it's just going to be kind of similar to theirs because I don't really like his. It's really boring and just kind of adds to his really boring silhouette. Anyway, let's get into the drawing. The most common question that a lot of people ask is, how is this basic guy, aka Taro Yamada, aka John Doe, yeah, that's literally the translation of Taro Yamada, is somehow able to pull every single girl in this entire school? Like, no way. But, you know, in my world, this is not the case. It's actually Ayano just being a little crazy. If it wasn't painfully obvious that she's a little, interesting. You know, I've already done Hanako, his sister, so I kind of wanted to base his design off her, so I took similar elements, you know, keeping a very basic design for him, because I did want to keep him as a basic person. I didn't want to make him some flashy guy, because that's not who he is. He's literally supposed to represent a normal dude, and like the original intention for this is for men to like be able to insert themselves to be him, but you know, I think just being plain is okay. And you know, my favorite character in My Hero Academia is Ojiro, so you know, I don't mind a plain character. In my head, Ayano's kind of just overthinking every single relationship that Taro has. If he joins a club, if he talks to someone in the hallways, she's gonna go crazy thinking that, oh, they're in love with him, where it's really not the case. The only two people that Taro would probably realistically be really close to would be Osana and his sister. I did want to keep Osana as his childhood friend because I think this is kind of interesting to have as a first rival, and honestly maybe Osana would be bumped up to be a more difficult rival, especially because she has Raibaru, which basically makes her invincible. I don't know why she's a starting rival, it should be a Mai. I see a lot of redesigns where people try to make Taro like this really desirable guy who like every girl has a crush on, and personally that's not my cup of tea because I think him being boring kind of adds to Ayano's character, because then you're like, oh no, this girl is like actually overthinking everything, because that could have been the way that it was in the game, because the original Taro is just some guy, but you know, Yandere didn't think that far ahead, and of course like every girl just has a crush on him because he wants to insert himself into the main character. Which is kind of, it's kind of weird, because it's a high school. It is a high school at the end of the day. But you know, I wanted to give Taro kind of a really shy demeanor, and my Taro would be very close with his like really close and niche group of friends, but also like his sister and Osana, and this is why I decided to give him like that little keychain in the back, like the pom-poms for Osana and then the heart is for Hanako. Like, he really cares for the people he knows, and probably that contrast right there is probably why Ayano's so obsessed with him. And he wouldn't be rude to Ayano either. He would be like, excuse me, like, do I know you? And then over time as the game progresses, he gets more and more paranoid and really scared of Ayano and starts to distance himself from everyone because he's like, everyone who I talk to, something terrible happens to. And I think it's important here to mention that not all of my rivals are directly involved with Taro. Some of them are just getting in Ayano's way of getting with Taro, which is a very drastic difference than every single rival being in love with Taro, which was the original case, which does not make any sense to me, and it's gross that a teacher would even do that anyway. Yeah. And here's my final design of Taro. I actually think he's so cute, so cutie patootie. And I'm just happy with the way I wrote him, and I think it's just so much more successful than Taro, Mr. Blank Slate over here. And I think this goes to show that it's possible to have a really plain and kind of, you know, normal looking and acting character that is powerful and makes sense in the universe and isn't just some, oh yeah, I can self-insert myself onto him, you know? And here are my finished designs of Info-chan, aka Mao Ito, and Taro Yamada. And I think that I did a really good job redesigning them aesthetically. They're just so cute and I love them. And I think that their designs are just so much more compelling, especially in the way that I wrote them. I feel like Yandere Dev really only cares about Ayano and maybe some of the rivals, and he doesn't really care about, say, characters like Imbo-chan or Taro, where it's kind of their story too, especially Taro. In my feeble opinion, it is just as much his story as it is Ayano's, because he's the one who's getting his whole life affected by all of this. She's just the one doing it. And yeah, let me know what you think about my designs and their stories in the comment section below, and let me know if you have any changes you think would be cool to add to the game. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for the view, it actually means the world, and you're doing more than I already asked for, so thank you. But if you really enjoyed the video, maybe consider dropping a like, maybe subscribing, or maybe hyping the video, because they all really do help me a lot to make more videos like this. And just a quick shout out, you guys should check out my Etsy. I have a ton of really cool stuff listed on there. I now have button back pins, I make them myself. I have Evolution button back pins and all the girls from Class 1A. I also have stickers of My Hero, Pokemon, Zelda, Splatoon, and more, and I also have acrylic charms. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!